Hello, everyone. I'm Christy Blyzapfer with Poets and Quants, and thank you for tuning in to our latest online MBA fireside chat. Today, we're talking with Naz Aranguch, Director of Admissions of MBA programs at University of Florida's Warrington College of Business. Thanks very much for joining us today, Naz.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. And I love that, I get to continue this partnership with Poets and Quants. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We love having you. We love learning, just really going in depth on the Warrington experience. So for this chat, we're going to talk, about with all the online MBA options out there, how the Florida Warrington program offers more for your future. So, just to start and lay the groundwork, Naz, I know Warrington has been offering an online MBA for a very long time. Do you want to start by kind of telling us a bit about the history of the program and its evolution to today?
Sure, absolutely. I'd love to. So Christy, just to give some groundwork, we opened our first kind of MBA program back in 1946. And so we've been offering an MBA program here at the Warrington College of Business for quite some time. And we recognize that as times changed, as the needs of our business leaders evolved, that we too needed to be agile with our offerings. And so in the early 90s, 93, we launched our executive MBA program and continued to broaden that portfolio there. And then actually in 1999, we made the decision to go the online route. In fact, back in the day, this online MBA program, we called it the Internet MBA.
Oh,
And
yeah.
shockingly, we actually mailed VHS tapes of pre-recorded lectures to our students. So we were mailing them, actual lecture content, because obviously, how else did one store all this data before we, had all these opportunities to store data everywhere, right? And so we have kind of continued to evolve our offerings, and then we've kind of, even since then, I mean, we have evolved how we even deliver our internet MBA to our online MBA. So we obviously don't send out VHS tapes anymore. I promise you that. But there was an evolution from going from, offering these VHS tapes to then giving all of our students iPods.
Yeah.
If anybody's watching, with all of these, lectures already downloaded on them, on their devices. And of course, now, in case you're wondering, I'm sure everybody who's watching this is wondering, well, how do you watch your lectures now? They're all pre-recorded and downloaded to the class sites. So you can really watch your lectures anywhere at any given point. And so we have made substantial changes. And kind of to go along those lines, Christy, is that when we launched the online program, we truly were a pioneer program in doing so. There was only one other program that was offering, that launched that same year. I won't talk about them because we're talking about Warrington today, but to think that for 25 years, we have been delivering a virtual learning environment for those who are looking to fine-tune their business acumen and their skill set. It's something that we're super proud about. And I know as we talk about the outside of the classroom experiences, we'll touch on this in more detail, but just I think the key thing is in that 25 years, we've really fine-tuned our adaptability and our agility to make sure that we can deliver a world-class online virtual experience for anybody, anywhere, at any time.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, but I think the online VHS sounds pretty retro and cool. Maybe that reveals my age a little bit, but that sounds pretty awesome. So let's just talk about the format then of today. Kind of how is that delivered and how are the online MBA students still able to kind of engage with that swamp experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, first let me talk about the fact that we offer, and this is another unique feature with the Warrington program here, is that we offer two types of online programs. We offer a 1-year and a 2-year program. Our 1-year program is designed specifically for those who have a business degree already within the last 7 years. So if you've already taken your core business classes, accounting sequence, finance, marketing, management, you name it. If you've already taken those core classes, we don't have you repeat any of those. So you were able to do a 32 credit, basically just over a year long online MBA program. Whereas if you have never seen any business course before, you're eligible for our 2-year online MBA program. And so you could maybe have either graduated more than 7 years ago, or maybe you weren't maybe you partied a little too hard when you were an undergrad, maybe your GPA, or you don't remember the fundamentals of accounting or statistics or things like that, then, in which case the online 2-year program could be a great fit for you. And what I also want to point out is that both the 1-year and the 2-year online MBA programs, they both start 3 times a year. So we have a fall, spring, and summer start. So really at any given point, we have some online train moving. And I think then when you talk about this moving train of our online program, what it's really important to think about is the fact that this online program was designed for that busy working professional who's working 40, 50, 60 plus hours a week, who's managing, obviously their professional lives, their family lives, social lives, and now their VHS tape live. No, I'm just kidding. Their virtual lives. And so when you think about this program, what's really, I think, also important to differentiate is that in the online MBA space, there are 2 types of formats. There's synchronous and asynchronous. Both of our programs, whether it be the 1-year or the 2-year, are what we call asynchronous formats, because all of your lectures, our faculty will go into our recording studio, they record their lectures, and then you're able to kind of watch them at your own pace and convenience. They give you access to the lecture at the beginning of the program. And the great thing is you're able to, or at the beginning of the term, I should say, you're able to download your lectures and watch them at your own pace and convenience. So if you're an early bird or a night owl or sometime in the middle day, right before your siesta, whatever it may be, you want to watch your lectures, you have that ultimate flexibility to do so. And, I should also say that the unique feature of the online program is that to kind of feel like you're a Gator, to feel like you're a Gator, students are still required to come to campus here in Gainesville, Florida, for orientation. So they come to Gainesville, they get 2 days to be fully immersed with their cohort mates, because we bring in our groups of students. You come in, with your group, and you kind of take the same courses from start to finish. So you come in with your group, you get to experience what it's like to be a Florida Gator, even if it's for a short 2-day period. And then basically you get to go back to your respective areas, homes, whatnot, work. And then you get the flexibility of what time, when, how, what pace, what speed you're watching your lectures and how you're going through your lecture content.
Yeah, absolutely. For the online MBA classes, that flexibility is so important. And that is one thing that I think really sets the Warrington experience apart. Well, let's talk a little bit about the cohort then, for the online MBA program at Warrington. What kind of cohort are you guys looking to build?
Yeah. So I'll say that first and foremost, we are constantly looking to broaden and grow the Warrington brand. The Gator Nation truly is everywhere. We have over 13,000 MBA graduates, alums out there. We have over 88,000 Warrington College of Business graduates and over 500,000 Gators globally. But of course, we don't expect you to be interfacing with all 500,000 Gators, although, hey, that'd be a great assignment to try to connect with every Gator out there. But the important thing is that most of this MBA experience, especially in the online space, that I tell prospective students, is that it's not only about what you learn, it's who you learn and who you work with while you're enrolled in the program. So building your network is really important, which is actually, Christy, why we still have students come to campus for orientation, because once you start to get that initial introduction to who you share this experience with, then it really only strengthens and enriches the experience. And so to go back to this mentality of a cohort, so who comprises of our cohort? And so we bring in, as I said, 3 different we have 3 intakes a year. So actually we're bringing in 6 different online MBA cohorts every year. So I'm very intentional about using cohorts, because you start with your group of peers and you take basically every course together, with an exception of one course together from start to finish. And so our average online 2-year cohort is about 65 to 75 students. So we want it to be, big, so you can still maximize networking opportunity, but small enough where you can actually get to know your classmates. For the online 1-year program, usually we say 45 to 55 is the cohort size of that group. And what I also want to point out is that with these individuals, these students are coming from kind of all over, right? They're not just coming from here in the state of Florida. I would say about 60% of our online demographic is coming from outside of the state of Florida. So you want to connect with those in the third largest state? Hey, that's a great way to do so in the online program. But you also want to get to know people from all over the US and potentially the world. You have that option to do so even in this online program. And I'll also tell you that, when you talk about program structure, about 50% of what you do will be in groups and teams. So I know I'm going to belabor the point about the network and why it's so imperative to have, a strong group of students that you can really get to know, is because 50% of your deliverables will be team-based, and not dissimilar to, like, if, Christy, I don't know where you're sitting today. I'm obviously engaged in Florida, but we're able to have this kind of, this virtual meeting in this space. And whether we're working for the same company or different companies, business today is about interacting with others. And so similarly, we want this MBA experience to be about interacting and working with your peers. And so 50% of what you'll do will be groups and teams of about 4 or 5 individuals. And so you'll get to know your teammates very, very well. And then every semester we encourage teams to dissolve. I know it can sometimes be a sad thing, but we want new teams to form so that you can really get to know your other classmates. And so you can continue to broaden your network of peers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think online teamwork is a whole other skill set these days that now everybody is confronting. So it's such a valuable skill to get in a program like this. So what kind of support is Warrington giving the online MBA students, particularly in maybe academic and career services, things like that?
Yeah. So as an online MBA student, you still have access to everything that, let's say, our full-time MBA or our executive MBA or our weekend part-time MBA student has access to. You just get to pick and choose how you're absorbing your lecture content. And that's the main differentiator. And why I really say that with, so much kind of, excitement is the fact that even as an online student, you get to pick the path that makes most sense for you. You have that flexibility if you need the flexibility, but you also have, all of the same resources available to any of our other MBA students. And so when you think about the MBA support ecosystem here at Warrington, yes, you will have your dedicated academic advisor. And in fact, our online students, we register you for your classes, so you don't have to think about that. We joke that the only thing that you have to worry about is your laundry and your homework. Basically, everything else will help you figure out. We tell you when you need to be, here on campus for orientation. So we have our student engagement team that helps with the onboarding all the way through graduation. So you'll have a team member there. You have your academic advisor that will register you for classes and tell you if, let's say, you need to modify your schedule, maybe for company reimbursement purposes or some other reason you need to extend the program out by a year. You can do that, and that's where you'll work with your academic advisor to do so. All of our students also have their own dedicated career coach. Whether you're looking to grow within your company, you're looking to make a career pivot, or you're just unsure what life has to offer, you will have a dedicated career coach that will help you with the career curriculum and navigating, what post-MBA career opportunities could look like. And then we also have a professional development team. Our professional development team, they're focused on taking a pulse of what a business leader today needs from a technical or soft skill set perspective. And we're constantly, adding, in addition to what we know is being offered in the classroom in terms of that content, we're able to, supplant that and provide additional resources to kind of get our students prepared to be the business leaders we know that they can be. So some of the things that we have recently offered are Lean Six Sigma, Scrum Master, training in Power BI. We, in fact, just a couple weeks ago had a weekend residency where students are able to come back to campus for non-credit bearing opportunities, professional development opportunities. We ran a series on ethical leadership. We did another one on storytelling and and business improv. And so we're constantly looking at ways to expand the MBA experience for credit, not for credit basis, to give our students all the skills that they need to be the phenomenal business leaders we know that they have the opportunity to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And, obviously experiential learning is kind of a big part of that of most MBA programs. So, even though that a lot of the actual coursework is delivered online for that essential flexibility, what are some of the opportunities for students to come together and participating in that kind of hands-on learning experience?
There is no shortage of ways to come back to campus or to engage in a multitude of ways. And so one of the big ones that we have, and I think this is a really popular one, is our global immersion experiences. So we offer, global 1 week trips where you'll go abroad and visit 6 to 8 different companies and learn more about these companies, different cultures. And you get to do this with a group of MBA students who are all excited to be on this journey with you. And so when you think about networking can also come in all of the experiential learning and beyond the classroom opportunities. And so global immersion experiences is one way. In fact, we just had a group return this fall. We had 2 groups going on different trips. So we had one group in Brazil, and we had another group in Norway. And so this, gave them an opportunity to experience a new place. And that was a great opportunity. And just the excitement around these global trips is just wonderful because, it's an opportunity to either check a bucket list location off, or, you get to learn more about something that you had maybe no previous real understanding about. And so, going abroad and being able to do that is definitely a highlight. But not everybody wants to go abroad, and that's okay too. We have our domestic immersion opportunities, where in fact this past June, we took a group of about 30 students up to Manhattan and we did a consulting project for a week there. We are a part of the Washington Campus Consortium. So let's say you want to learn more about business policy or health admin, you can do that in a 4 to 5 day period going to the Washington campus. But there are other ways in which experiential learning can also be satisfied. We of course offer experiential learning courses online too, because we recognize if someone's choosing an online program, they need that heightened flexibility. But then we also do things here on campus. If you say, look, I want to do an online program, but I want to maximize opportunities to come back to the swamp, then we also offer 1 week experiential learning courses here on campus or in our surrounding areas. So Christy, in a couple months, we're taking a group of students back to the Ocala National Forest to do a primitive leadership 5-day camping experience where there's no technology. I don't know how people do it. I probably use my brain, my mind would just explode in hour 12 of not having any device. But thankfully, we've had no student that, has died out of, not having their devices, technology completely disconnected from the world. But it really gives students an opportunity in all of the different facets to kind of feel what the experience is like above and beyond the classroom. And so experiential learning, we obviously have the 4 credit opportunities, whether it's abroad, in DC, in Manhattan, around Gainesville, online. But then another thing that I'll point out is that we do every semester residency opportunities where students can come to campus for these non-credit bearing courses. So the ethical leadership was one that I just referenced, but we'll also do this series of doing business in certain surrounding areas. So we did one in Miami where students spent 2 days doing a mini global immersion experience, but a domestic experience where they got to learn more about doing business in South Florida. And, we also do a number of things around networking around the state of Florida and beyond. We target where all of our alums and current students are, and we try to look at ways to reconnecting our students. And so just last week we were in Orlando around Prospanica. So we had, participated in the National Career Showcase. So students who wanted to be in front of, future employers, they had an opportunity to attend Prospanica or Reaching Out MBA or National Black MBA Career Showcase. And so we encourage students to also do these things. And around all of these career showcases, we include an MBA mini summit where they can learn some skill set above and beyond just being there for the career showcase, as well as a networking event.
Yeah.
So no shortage of opportunities to connect.
Yeah, absolutely. And, speaking of that, those network opportunities with the experiential learning, one reason people decide to do an MBA, even an online MBA, is to build that network. So just give us and you've mentioned several, but like give us a little bit more of that networking ecosystem for the Warrington Online MBA student.
Yeah. So networking comes in a few different ways. We call it, intentional networking and then organic networking. So, first and foremost, when you join and you're a part of that cohort, they immediately become your newest network of peers, right? You'll work most closely with your network of fellow cohort mates. Beyond that, Christy, at any given time, so to kind of take a step back, at any given point, we have about 900 enrolled MBA students in the program across all 22-ish cohorts. So we have a lot of students living and breathing the Warrington MBA experience. But specifically of that 900-ish, about 570 are enrolled online MBA students. So you have a direct, 570 give or take students that are enrolled in one of our online MBA formats. Now, so of course you have that network of other online students, and when you join the Warrington MBA program, you have access to our Salesforce community pages. So basically you have access to the larger scope of enrolled students. So if you're like, hey, I want to connect with other online students based on an industry, a company, or a geography, you can post to the online discussion posts boards saying, hey, is anybody else in this market, or does anybody else work for, let's call it Disney or something like that? And so you have an opportunity to connect that way. And that's a little bit more of that intentional networking for you to go out. But we also host regional networking events in all of our major areas, as well as here in Gainesville. So you may or may not know if you're watching, but we are the University of Florida, home of the Florida Gators, right? So we are a pretty big sports school. I guess, I do have a Gator right here, in case right there. And so sporting, and the traditions around athletics here is so strong and runs very, very deep. And so a few weeks ago around homecoming, we brought about 600 of our current students and alums back to campus for a big tailgate. And so we do a lot of events around, not only the traditions of the larger university, but then we also lean into the fact that there are a lot of Gators out there, as I talked about, 500,000 Gators globally. And so the MBA program will also partner with our fellow Gator clubs. So when I'm in New York, I'll partner with our Gotham Gator Club. When I'm in Chicago, our Windy City Gator Club, and so we'll invite our current students and alums to these events as well, so that they can get to know other Gators beyond the MBA program. And so, networking starts, even before somebody has enrolled, they have access to their community pages. We start seeing our students, or even before orientation, start connecting with their peers. Hey, who's coming in from, the Texas area? Let's see if we can travel together. Or, hey, whoever's coming to campus a little bit early, let's go and get, a bite to eat or coffee beforehand. And so it's actually fun to see how networking and how excited students get even before they've actually enrolled in the program. And another thing is, a lot of times we'll do events that are for prospective students as well as our current students and alums. And we see a lot of success in our students kind of creating those bonds early on, because I think if as a program we are intentional about saying how important networking is, then those values kind of, I think, infiltrate kind of the entirety of the experience. In fact, I know that this sounds very cheesy, but if students are on campus for orientation, or if they come back to campus for a residency weekend, even how we design doing lunch and breakfast, we do big family style so that everybody who's here can get to know one another. And we obviously hope that our online MBA students, not only that they for sure will make it to that finish line, because we're super proud of our over 90% graduation and retention rate, but more specifically, that they come back to campus, that they feel compelled to bring their families back to campus to celebrate with us when we do their big celebration of the graduates party. And it's so fun to see students that came here for orientation, and then they're coming at the end for graduation, and the excitement around sharing the Gainesville tradition and the Gainesville, the UF campus with their family and their peers is just a wonderful way to kind of tie a bow on that experience.
Yeah, that's great. Well, let's just end then. If you just want to put that, the UF campus into a little bit of context, maybe for people who did not get their, undergrad at the school. What's it mean to be a Gator? And just kind of describe that campus, the unique campus that you guys have there.
Yeah. So I'll first say that, it's such a unique place that I decided to not only, stay here for my career, but I've had a lot of experience on campus. I did my undergrad, my master's, my PhD, all here at the University of Florida. And the big thing that I tell individuals is that, there's something that there's this amazing energy around being here in Gainesville. Maybe it's because we are in a swamp, that there's a vibrancy here that we don't get really anywhere else. And so when you think about the fact that there are 60,000 students on this campus. I mean, Gainesville's a small town. So we are in North Central Florida. We're about 2 hours away from Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, and Tallahassee, and then we're a few hours away from South Florida. So we are driving distance of some fairly large metro areas. But recognizing that we have that distance to those places also means that when we are here in the swamp, there's a lot that we have. I would say intellectual horsepower and energy around this campus. Around whether it be sporting events, football season to basketball season. I mean, basically, there's no bad season here. Even weather-wise, there's no bad season here. Being in Florida and being in the swamp, gives us not only great, kind of green space, but in the surrounding areas, we have so many natural springs and lakes. And so when you think about green space, we aren't a swamp. I promise there's not alligators just walking across our campus. I mean, there are, but they're students, not the actual reptile kind. But there's just so much energy around this place, and recognizing that we are a small town of, about 200,000, but recognizing that more than a quarter of the population here in Gainesville is affiliated or enrolled at the University of Florida just makes it such a fun, rich place to be.
Absolutely. Well, Naz, thank you very much for your time and telling us all about the great things happening in the Warrington MBA. Why don't you really quick tell people, viewers who are interested in learning more, the best way to get in touch?
Yeah. So for you all watching, please send me an email. I'm always available, naz@warrington.ufl.edu. I have a phenomenal team that will gladly jump on a Zoom with you. We do coffee chats throughout the state of Florida and beyond. So just go to our website, reach out to me, meet me in a convenient location for you, or come to campus, experience it for yourself. Come, experience what it's like to be a Gator. We have so many open houses and opportunities to come to campus. So please, embrace those opportunities and come and meet me. I'd love to chat further.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again. And thank you to all the viewers for tuning in. We have many more conversations with Warrington's MBA experts up on our YouTube page or on our website, poetsandquants.com. And until next time, thanks for listening.